I've always focused on how can I use habits to help me be even better at what I do, help me fit even more in my day and do even more and take better care of myself, etc., etc. And I noticed that more and more people started coming to me asking about these things. Like, hey, like, how do you do all of these things? I was like, yeah, let me try and see if I can actually turn this into a business where I do one-on-one coaching, I offer certain courses that allow other people to also create more freedom in the lives that they currently live.
You like to be completely silent in a silence retreat. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, when we're silent for a certain period of time, it allows us to filter all of that information that came towards us in the past couple of days, couple of weeks, and focus a little bit more about what are we actually feeling inside of our bodies? What are actually some of the deeper things that we are holding on to?
Hi, Robin.
Hey, Simon.
Welcome back to Dubai.
Thank you.
Let's go for a walk and talk.
Nice.
So, you're back in Dubai?
Yes. Yeah.
And you lived here before,
Yeah, for 7 years.
but something drastic changed in your life. You decided suddenly to take a completely different turn in your career
Yeah,
and do something different as well.
yeah.
Can you talk us a little bit through your journey and what made you do that and what you were feeling at that moment?
Yeah, good question. I think I noticed that I've always wanted more freedom in my life. So I had a great career, I had great friends, I had a great life here in Dubai.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I actually wanted to travel more. I wanted to see more of the world.
Okay.
I wanted to do my own thing, really make the world a better place, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I noticed that while I had a good life here,
Yeah.
there was something missing. Like,
Okay.
I wanted something different. So, yeah, after a couple of years in corporate and climbing the corporate ladder, I actually quit my job to travel the world initially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to what you were feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
What were you feeling that made you say, I don't want this anymore?
Yeah, good question. I think it was mostly a restlessness. I had picked up eating plant-based for a while. I focused a lot on a bit more of a minimalistic life.
Okay.
So I tried to look at the things that I had in my life and really focus on maximizing the value of those few things, rather than in today's society we have so much stuff and I think that really has an impact on our mind. It clouds our mind. And I noticed that in Dubai, of course, there is so much. It's always bigger, it's always better, it's always more stuff. And I noticed that I wanted to experiment with maybe a bit less stuff and see what impact that would have on my life personally.
Okay, so it was like an urge,
Yes.
and that urge led you to travel the world.
Yeah.
But you also made a career change.
Yes.
Was something else happening at the time that you were working in corporate world that made you say, do I want to continue being in corporate and and in sales and
Yeah.
and this kind of culture and lifestyle?
Yeah.
What were there initial
Yeah.
doubts at that
About
time?
that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the restlessness came with those doubts as well. I mean, like, I climbed the corporate ladder relatively quickly. I noticed that the people above me, so I focused on customer success, and above me was the GM and then the CEO of like a huge Lebanese company. And I was looking at them, and while I admire their work and stuff like that, they weren't living lives that I wanted to live. So I was thinking like, why am I working so hard to be in their seats and live their lives if that's not something that excites me, if that's not something that I really want to work towards.
So what about that life
Yes.
made you think that that is not a good fit with your life?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose the biggest thing is a lot of corporate companies are missing a like social mission, like something that truly has a positive impact on the world. That truly, I suppose, like aligns with making the world a better place, truly. And
okay.
yeah.
I see where you're going. You were feeling that you were not making an impact on society.
Yeah.
You were not making really a difference, and that's hard to define, of course,
Yeah.
because you were in a role where you were not supposed to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
But still, you felt like, what if I did? What if I was able to make an impact?
For sure. And I think also like 40 hours a week is a lot of time to invest if it's not something that, like, I want to be there on this planet to make a positive impact. I want to be here on this planet to invest my time, my energy, my money, my whatever into taking a small step towards making the world a better place. Taking a small step towards aligning my vision on the world with what I'm putting out there, what I'm doing. And it really seemed like the right moment to take that first step in that direction for that.
Okay, and when you were doing that process of thinking, what made you help to clear your thoughts? Did you write things down on a notebook, or were you just scribbling, or did you have a diary?
Yeah,
you're laughing because
because it's honestly like going through such a moment. There is so much happening in your head, so it's sometimes really hard to channel that. And what for me really helps is meditation. So for meditation, I can go back to, okay, so what am I actually feeling, and what's really happening? We live in a world where information comes at us at a crazy rate. So for me, meditation really helps to channel that a bit, and I also love journaling. So for me, journaling really, when you keep things inside of your head, sometimes it's like a huge messy ball, but then as soon as you write it down, things start feeling more organized. They start feeling a little bit clearer, and in moments like that in my life, that really helped.
I think also I'm curious to know
Yes.
what you were feeling when you went on this road trip.
Yes.
And you took a break.
Yeah.
Longer than normal.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes. Yeah.
What were things you were going through or experiencing and feeling when you were in that road trip?
Yeah.
And first of all, also, how long was it?
Yes. So I traveled for 10 months.
Okay.
So it's a long time to be away, and I think there's loads of emotions that you go through at the moment. Like initially, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of happiness, but there's also a bit of sorrow, I suppose. Like you're losing your past life. So I closed my Dubai chapter to a certain extent and started a new one. So it's like amongst that excitement and that happiness, there's also a bit of fear, you know, like, did I make the right decision? You know, like, is this really what I want? I mean, I traveled through a big part of Africa. I went from South Africa to Ethiopia, almost everything by land, which is like huge. Also staying in places where you get more anxious, you're unhappy, you're sometimes a bit lonely. But I think overall, I was very proud of being able to break free from my life in Dubai. I mean, like, here I had everything that I could have wanted. You know, I had a great job, I had really fun friends, an amazing lifestyle as you have here in Dubai. But when I noticed that some of the things that I started caring about, some of the values that I have, didn't really align with the life that I was living, I'm really proud of being able to sacrifice something that is really good for something that can potentially be great or even amazing, because that takes a lot of courage. So I was really proud of that.
Tell me about those values.
Yeah, so I started caring more about minimalism. I started eating vegan. I started caring more about sustainability. So like sustainability is definitely one of my values. And then we spoke a bit about freedom. So really being able to control more aspects of my life than I was able to before. I mean, like in a corporate job, you have a lot of responsibility towards the business, towards the clients that you work with, towards your colleagues. And for me, that came at a cost of what I could do in my personal life and how clear my head was in my personal life. I mean, like, I'm a super ambitious guy, and that's amazing. It has loads of benefits, but it also means that I have a lot of ownership. And that ownership also comes with me thinking about business things in my personal life. So I don't think I was really able to fully switch off at certain points, even on the weekend. Like, I can still remember this one time where I was with my family, I was like on our boat, like on the sea, and we were like wakeboarding, water skiing, whatever, and I got this call from my manager being like, hey, like, where are you? Like, there's a delivery that is not going well, and like, we need to fix it now. And like, I was on the sea, like my service was really bad, but I needed to fix it in the moment, you know, and that really, like, whenever I think of that ownership and like not always being able to fully be in the moment in my personal life, like that's one of the examples that I think of, that I always had to be on, I always had to be reachable in case something happened and they needed me to solve it.
Okay, and how did you feel at that moment when you received that call and you were with your family and you were doing fun things and you were really like happy?
Yes, I was furious. Yeah, so I mean, like, I was so upset. Like, it was a mix of like feeling sad that I had to like step out of that happy personal moment and back into like my work mode. I was angry. I was like, I don't know, like, why can't you solve this yourself? You know, like, how hard is it really? But I think at the same time, like, I was able to switch into that work mode relatively quickly, like trying to solve it as quick as possible so that I could go back to like my happy, like personal life again.
Okay, but I will play advocate from the devil.
Yes.
Was it not possible for you to switch companies?
Yeah.
Than to switch countries?
Yes. Yeah. Like, that's definitely like that was definitely an option as well. I think I've always wanted to travel more as well, so that was pulling on me as well, like to really take a break and explore. And I think like the further on I would go in my career, I expected to get even more responsibility, to become even more important to the business, and therefore like it could potentially be even harder to break free from that and ever do like a big trip like that again. So I thought that if there was ever a good time, it was then.
Okay, because if I go through my own personal experience,
Yeah.
I remember I was in Scotland
Yes.
on a nice holiday.
Yeah,
I was,
yeah.
Walking up the mountain.
Yes.
My kids with me.
Yes.
Beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
And I made a mistake to check my phone.
Yes.
Check my email.
Yes.
And it was at that time a client of mine
Yeah.
who was really upset because a third party was delaying a payment,
Yeah.
but it was an assured payment, and
Yeah.
the payment would come in 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that person was like, no, I want it to happen like
Right
earlier,
now.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
And there's nothing I can do except like follow up. And that person just kept following up 1 or twice time a day
Yeah,
while
yeah.
I was the whole trip in Scotland.
Yeah.
So later when I came back, I had a conversation with that person. I said, I don't think we're a good fit
Yeah.
because you don't trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The payment did come after 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't have to follow up twice a day
Yeah.
and basically destroy my holiday.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
which is very valuable for
Yeah,
me, especially
yeah.
with my children.
Yeah.
So I took out let me just say at that moment the factor
Yes.
that created
Yeah.
the discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you would have switched companies,
Yes.
would that have been still good alignment with your values in total, or were there still other values that you have that led you to think that Dubai was not the right place for you anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think something like that could have been possible. I think because of what I said, like I also really wanted to travel, so that also played a big role in me wanting to get off. But yeah, it could have definitely worked. I think like Dubai, obviously in itself, like a city in a desert, doesn't necessarily directly align with more of a sustainability point of view. But then there are, of course, a lot of initiatives that are trying to change that, are more investing in that. Yeah, I think.
Beside of sustainability.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
Robin. Freedom, you said.
Yes.
But you also maybe you're balancing now between different jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is something we will talk a little bit more
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you could have balanced between different jobs and different passions that you have
In Dubai.
in Dubai?
I think that would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, so now I'm in Dubai for a few days after I don't know how long in the Netherlands again, and so at the moment, so I combine my coaching business for a few days a week with a part-time job
Yeah.
next to that as well. And
Yeah.
In Europe, that's really something that happens a lot, and
Yeah.
we get that flexibility and we get that freedom. And here, of course. It doesn't happen that often. I mean, like there are people in Europe that are like that have lived in Europe or whatever, that are exposed to it, but the system hasn't really caught on here yet. So in that case, like no, that would probably not work for me. Unless I like freelance or something, but then I really have to kind of come up with creative solutions, and that maybe also doesn't get me the security that I need. To be able to live a free life.
Yeah. So one of the things that happened after you did your road trip,
Yes.
you also went back to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
left the UAE.
Yes.
And you founded a company
Yes.
that was focused on coaching.
Yeah.
My first question is, what were you thinking?
What were I thinking? Yeah. Well, I suppose like it was during like Corona time, so I was traveling for 10 months, then Corona hit, and I was like, I'll go back to the Netherlands for a little bit until this Corona thing like dissolves again so that I can hit the road. And then obviously that didn't happen, so I was thinking like, how can I have a positive impact on the world from this situation? Like, how can I make the most of this situation? So everything turned out to be online, and ever since I've been like an ambitious young person, I've always focused on how can I use habits to help me be even better at what I do, help me fit even more in my day and do even more and take better care of myself, etc., etc. And I noticed that more and more people started coming to me asking about these things, like, hey, like, how do you do all of these things? Like, how do you make it happen? And I was like, yeah, let me try and see if I can actually turn this into a business where I do one-on-one coaching. I offer certain courses that allow other people to also create more freedom in the lives that they currently live, to work towards a future that they actually want to work towards, rather than that they work towards on like autopilot, because unfortunately that is what's happening for most people.
Yes, I saw somebody with a title on coaching, and their title is like great paycheck, crap personal life.
Yeah.
I think like that is like somehow very related to what you do in your coaching, and while you were discovering this new part of your life, it's interesting to see that people were already coming to you naturally for advice, and people gravitating to you for that.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for that. And I mean, like, I don't know, on one hand I'm very grateful, but on the other hand, like, I worked very hard to know as much as possible there is to know about habits and behavioral changes and stuff like that. And it was really amazing to see how that naturally grew into Chumble, the company I founded.
Yes.
It's really been an amazing journey.
And for the record, I've been taking for almost a year coaching sessions from Robin.
Yes.
And that's how I know him better. And I remember I was seeing some clips from you. You would do things like in your apartment with the lights on and off. You remember?
Yeah.
And some pictures and some travel pictures.
Yeah.
And I think, of course, I told you a little bit about it. I was just looking. I'm like, I don't know what he does, but he's so happy and he's so much enjoying his life.
Yeah.
I want that as well.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that energy.
Yeah.
Part of that, that aura, that what you are transferring outside.
Yeah.
And I still remember, I'm like, hi Robin, I don't know exactly what you do, but can we talk and see if we can work together?
Yeah, and I think that's also what I'm trying to like radiate, because I think your energy, the positivity, the whatever, for me, I really see it as a result for all the hard work that I do on my habits and all the hard work that I do, like reflecting and thinking about, hey, like, does this actually bring me closer to like the future Robin that I really want to be, and the future that I want to work towards? I'm really glad, and honestly, like, making fun content is just like super fun anyway. So it's really something that I could combine. Like, I did it loads with my sister as well, and it's like it's a really fun process. So I really enjoy it as well.
Tell me a little bit about that. What did you do with your sister?
Yeah, so she actually like helped me for almost like a year to think about fun content, to think about creative content that kind of gets the point across of the impact that good habits can have on your life. And you mentioned like a clip of me in my tiny house, like dancing, and it's just these kind of things that sometimes you see come by on the socials. And next to obviously like habits being a very serious thing and it's really having a serious positive impact on your life, I think anything that you approach too seriously can have certain blockers in your life. So when you set like huge ambitious goals and you only approach it from a very, very serious angle, it starts to feel very heavy, and it's harder to actually get the success that you want. So I try to approach it in a very light, positive way, to combine that with like the serious science behind it and the methods and whatever, to make it easier for people to achieve amazing things.
Yes, that's actually, you're saying something that strikes with me as well. I've set some ambitious goals myself.
Yes.
And the pressure I'm feeling sometimes,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
And now you're just coming from a different angle. You're saying, maybe where's the fun? You know,
Yeah.
where's the different angle
Yeah.
towards it?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
I think the biggest part of it is that things get boring when it's too serious. I really believe in the impact of playfulness on people's lives, you know,
Yeah.
like make it a game, like turn it into something fun, like discuss it with people, like that lightness, and there's loads of research on it as well. It actually increases our chances for success. And especially for things like habits, there's too many people screaming at us to eat healthy, to exercise loads, to meditate, to do loads of things, and all of that pressure, it feels very heavy. And with that playfulness, you can take small bites of that heaviness and actually achieve great things while you're having fun.
Yes, I like that. I want that more in my life.
Good.
No, I really believe in the playfulness as well. I do that also in raising my children.
Yeah.
I love the moments when I'm just like, you know, the silly being one of the kids,
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah.
playing, and you're still connecting and you're still getting to know them.
Yeah.
And also with when you do that with other children, even if they're family or not.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that.
Yeah.
Because it brings you back to your childhood when life was great.
Yeah.
And everything was possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that alone as child radiates a lot of
100%.
positive energy.
Yeah.
What is there any research that says you need to go back to that source of your upbringing?
Yeah. Like the playfulness, like the like childish playfulness.
Yes,
You mean?
yes. Is there any correlation?
Yeah, good question. I think like I don't know the exact science, but I see it a lot in the people I've coached. Like I coached over 100 people now,
Yeah.
from like loads of different cultures and nationalities, and this is the one thing that keeps coming back. Like the more you tap into that playfulness, the more you can make the process fun, the easier it is to succeed, and the higher chances of success you will get.
Okay, I like it. I like it so much because somebody else shared with me that in his life he does a lot of networking,
Yeah,
and he says 3 to 4 times a day he's busy with that. And if
Yeah.
you look at all his networking events, he said, I'm just having fun.
yeah.
I'm just having fun.
Yeah,
And if you look at all the things he's doing, he is actually having fun.
yeah.
And I was like, damn, what if I'm spending 3 or 4 days a week just having fun,
Yeah.
really having fun,
Yeah,
and still achieving all my goals.
exactly.
And also the people you meet then are also having fun.
Exactly.
It's not a serious setting.
No, because I also feel like as you radiate that positive energy,
Yeah.
you'll also meet people, you'll connect with people, you'll connect with clients, you'll connect with colleagues, you'll connect with other people that have that same energy and that are also having fun. And the more you have that in your life, the happier you'll also be.
Yeah. And how do you bring that back into your habit coaching? How do you ensure that you increase that level of playfulness
Yeah.
with your clients?
Yeah.
And how do you target and differentiate between where you see that there's a lack of it
Yeah.
and maybe there is enough of it?
Yeah. Because I think the last part is very true. Like I get some very serious clients that have like super ambitious goals, like actually you, where you're like, I need to achieve this, I need to achieve that, and this is how I'm gonna get there. That need more playfulness, and I can steer them more in that direction. But there's the other side as well. People that are very lighthearted and let's go with the flow and let's see how that happens. but then the challenge is really to introduce that seriousness, but to introduce the process very playfully. And there's different ways in which you can do that. I mean, like, I actually launched like the like chumbling method, where you start with your huge ambitious goals, but then you like cut it down into smaller pieces that you can increase each week to slowly work towards that bigger goal. Instead of having to exercise for like 5 times a week straight away, you slowly ease into it and actually really make it fun and sometimes even overachieve because you set these smaller goals. Because that really makes the process a lot more fun than setting it for 5 days a week, doing 4, and 4 is already amazing to start with, but then because it's still 1 less than the 5 you initially set, you end up feeling disappointed, which is like the last thing that you want to start your habit journey with.
Yes, and you said something there which I didn't think about. You said obviously to playfulness and to more fun, you can bring in the fun part.
Yeah.
But reverse that you're bringing with people that are already lighthearted, you said, and playful in their life.
Yeah.
To be more serious with playfulness and with you're putting in the seriousness also in it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's actually easier to be serious and then to pull them back a bit. Yeah. Like because to apply certain structure, it's a very tough process where you need to learn toward like SMART goals and these kind of things because we are used to that in business a lot, but in our personal lives we don't have a lot of experience with that often. Yeah. So how do you then create that in a structural way? But also a lot of the people I work with have very busy like work lives. So you don't want to create more pressure on top of that.
Yes.
So then how do you make it manageable? And that's also why, and obviously like we work together like that as well. Like on a weekly basis, we meet for only half an hour. And then like there's a little bit of preparation that goes into it. So you reflect as well and you learn how it is to stand still on the process and evaluate it yourself. But it's very light. It's not a very intense program where you invest hours and hours of work in order to achieve the things that you can achieve with your habits.
Yes, and one of your habits we're going to talk about. Let's take a turn around.
Yes.
We're going to go to the other side.
Yeah.
We're going. So you have a habit, Robin, because you're on your way now to fulfill that habit.
Yes.
I feel like you know what's coming. You like to be completely silent in a silence retreat. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So actually on my first world trip, so where I traveled for 10 months, I did a silent retreat for the first time, Vipassana. And Vipassana is a 10-day retreat where you meditate for around 11 hours a day and are completely silent with a group of, for me it was around 50 people. The idea behind it is not necessarily that it's the like funnest experience that you can have, but it really gives you a lot. I mentioned earlier, like we live in a society where a lot of information comes at us, and in order to channel that in a good way, I think staying silent for a certain period of time can really allow us to understand ourselves a little bit better than we can in a very busy world. In a busy world, there's a lot of information, and it takes time for us to process that information. So oftentimes you notice when you have a quiet moment and a certain thought comes up in your head, like, oh, I forgot that, or I still want to do that, or remember that comment that a colleague made, or something like that. And that's all information that is still stored in our brains that we still need to process. When we're silent for a certain period of time, it allows us to filter all of that information that came towards us in the past couple of days, couple of weeks, and focus a little bit more about what are we actually feeling inside of our bodies? What are actually some of the deeper things that we are holding on to? And that can be very positive things, like an amazing birthday you had, an amazing friendship you have, or an amazing festival experience that you had, for example, which was the case for me. Or it can be something that is a bit more negative. So things that you're afraid of losing, like your family, or maybe you already lost someone. Maybe for me, it's, for example, also like slaughterhouses, seeing corpses of like animals hanging there. You know, like the idea of it. I really have a strong aversion to it. And in a retreat like that, you can actually do 3 things. First, when you feel something like that come up, you can really feel it and start going into it. Like, why am I feeling this way? What is going on? And it will actually increase the intensity of that thing you're holding on to. You can be like, oh my God, I really don't want to think about this. I'm going to put it away, which is you subdue it for a little bit, but later on it will come back to you. Or the third way is to feel it for what it is, but to also don't feel any attachment to it. And it sounds quite simple. Unfortunately, it's not, because you really go into an emotional situation, an emotional attachment, and try to just observe it for what it is. Like, hey, this is interesting. What am I feeling? What is going on? What is happening? What is causing this strong emotional tie? And when you observe it for what it is, without the emotional attachment, over time it will actually fade that connection, and you'll live a freer life because that connection doesn't weigh you down anymore.
So which one do you do?
I tried the third one, but it's still a mix of different ones. Like when the emotion is too heavy, sometimes I still go into it a lot. Or sometimes I'm like, I really don't want to think about this. Like, try and put it away. But I consciously try to, move a bit more into trying to observe it and trying to feel and trying to really be present in the moment instead of trying to take me back to that connection from the past.
Amazing, because you're very lively and bubbly personality, which
Yes.
people can see.
Yes.
And for you to go in a silent retreat
Yes.
is, I think, against your nature.
Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah, but to still do it because you see that the outcome and the result can be far exceeding
Yeah.
the disadvantages.
Yeah.
And to set yourself up, to put yourself in a non-comfort zone.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to go out of your comfort zone?
Hugely. Yeah, hugely. I think maybe in the past I thought it was even more important. Mm-hmm. I thought I wanted to live the whole of my life out of my comfort zone, but I also noticed that is not a healthy balance for me.
Yeah.
But it's hugely important. Like for me, this it's outside of my comfort zone, but it's also quite relaxing in a way. Like it's the silence is relaxing, and we actually speak about it in our sessions sometimes as well, about stress levels and the impact that can have on your body, on your mind. Yeah. And for me, so obviously out of your comfort zone is amazing for growth. It's amazing for taking steps to become even better at something, to grow, but what we shouldn't forget is that out of our comfort zone, the stress levels are higher as well. So it's not sustainable to be out of our comfort zone the whole time. So it's really important to find the right balance between, yes, going outside my comfort zone and trying something new, or like this silent retreat, for example. Yes, I'm really out of my comfort zone, but I'm also really taking care of my my mind, my body, my soul in a sense that I grant it a lot of silence. I grant it a lot of space. And creating that space to also sometimes be bored and sometimes do nothing or meditate is also really important.
And you mentioned something about stress levels.
Yeah.
What can people do to reduce their stress levels? What habits help them
Yeah.
to deal with that?
Yeah. A huge one is sleep. So in our sleep, our bodies regenerate. That's definitely number one. Yeah, I think like meditation is an amazing one because you really rest your head and are able to be again completely silent in those moments. But another one, and maybe something that you can start on more easily, is to sometimes just do nothing. Sometimes just sit on the couch, have a coffee, go for a walk, and not try to do multiple things at the same time. Because that's really something that we want to optimize our time. There's amazing podcasts, there's amazing like other things that you can do and combine, but sometimes combining that again increases the inflow of information that our body again needs to process. And that also costs a lot of energy, that also costs a lot of time. So it's also really something that is important to be aware of.
I used to go from the office for approximately a year home to take a nap.
Nice. That's a really, really good way as well.
Yeah, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
But then some people in the office started to notice, like, okay, how long is he actually gone?
Yeah.
Sometimes I was gone up to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And because it's a travel time, I took lunch.
Yeah.
Sleeping. Dressing up, traveling back.
Yeah.
And it was not always 4 hours. But
No.
then when we changed the office, I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
But I really missed that because I really felt that everything, like when I was doing my nap, my heart rate went down.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was lying, even if I didn't fully fell asleep.
No.
And the way I woke up was,
Yeah.
I felt like I was
Sharp.
sharp again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what can somebody do if they want to still continue doing that,
Yeah.
but still have not too much impact on their time
Yeah.
being lost?
Yeah, so, well, I think naps are an amazing way to also, again, like regenerate. The science says that a nap of about 20 to 25 minutes is like the ideal time for us to still stay sharp, but also to really like rest sufficiently. And so that's an amazing way. And obviously, like a lot of offices don't have any facilities so that you're able to do that at the office. If you work from home, really make sure that you create that time. But I think like if naps really aren't a possibility, like focus on the quality of your sleep. So make sure that you limit the screen time right before bed, you limit how much you drink, how much you eat before you go to bed, because all of that information, all of that food and drinks still need to be processed by your body. So that will cause you to actually sleep much lighter, and therefore, again, your body doesn't regenerate as much as it would if you give your body a little bit of a break, even right before you go to sleep.
Okay, and somebody told me back in the days that what that person did was he would sit on the toilet, put his hands like this,
Okay.
and just rest his head, and like stay there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he feel fresher. So
Yeah.
is there not something to say about that you go into a room, doesn't have to be the toilet, of
No.
course. And I don't know, like in the plane, you see also people trying to sleep in like all kinds of like weird positions.
Yeah.
But
Well, so like in the end, if you're feeling comfortable in a certain position, yes, you totally can. And for these kind of breaks, like if there's no facilities, like just sitting there in silence, or even just like meditating or something like that, if that's something that you're into, is also a great way to take that break. Because even while you're meditating, like you're also giving your head a well-needed break.
Yeah, there was. I heard that some of the big tech people, like the CEO of Google, they put a like a meditation mat and they just lie there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they do that maybe like 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And it really helps them to
be sharp.
Yeah, be sharp
Yeah.
and to get a pose.
Yeah.
So I think there's also something to say about that. What do you think?
100%. Like I actually do it like before I go into like important meetings.
Okay.
To actually realign myself and kind of like filter through how I was feeling earlier, or to really create a bit more space. I think the key to a good meeting is that you are sharp and you have enough headspace to really be able to listen properly to what the other person has to say and react to that, or pitch a certain thing that you're doing. And by creating that headspace, by giving yourself a little bit of rest before you go into a meeting or a few times a day, you're just much sharper. You just enter that meeting in a much clearer way.
So what do you do exactly? Do you lie down on a mat?
I just sit actually.
Sit.
So I close my eyes and I have a specific method where I focus on the triangle above my lip, and I try to feel sensations in that area. So that's my focus point. But that's the like Vipassana technique.
Yeah, do you sit in a therapy position? Like, a meditation?
Like a meditation position.
like...
If I can, yes. But if I just have like my office chair, then I'll just like sit on my office chair like that. And meditate in that way.
I like it. All kinds of innovative ideas that you don't have to go back to home just to sleep. You can find a way to lie down or sit down or just clear your head.
Yeah.
I heard that Steve Jobs back in the day, when he had important meetings, he walked.
Ah, really?
Yeah, to
nice.
talk.
Yeah.
It's like just went for like 10-minute walks and came back.
Yeah.
I think there's so much more towards how we can do things better.
100%. Yeah, and I think the key is really to find something that works for you.
Yeah.
So to really focus on, out of all of the options, because there's so many, what suits best for your specific situation. Because that's really something that we often underestimate a little bit. Because there are so many different options, we assume like, oh yeah, like it's easy to choose one, but that's actually where people get stuck. Like what is the one thing that suits your situation the best?
Robin, you have so much to give and you have so much creativity in you. What are we not seeing yet and what is coming up? What can we expect from Robin?
I think so. This year, I think I'll go deeper into habits and really kind of seeing what are some of the biggest things that entrepreneurs, high achieving individuals struggle with, so that I can more deeply assist the people I work with just in a better way. And I think in the long run, you can expect me to change the world for the better with my energy, with my positivity, and with the causes that I really care about and I really believe in.
I'm looking forward, and I know you will.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much.
Thanks.
For coming.
Thanks, Simon.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For everybody listening, thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.